Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Today we're going to be continuing with our summaries of chapters from business management. Today the chapter is 3.2 costs and revenue. This is a really quick one, so I'm just going to run right through it. But it is important, I think, to know all these things just going forward for the future sections, which are quite a bit longer and more intense. Anyway, so the main part of this chapter is it outlines what are the types of costs. So the first type are fixed. Fixed, this is to say, regardless of what you do, you're going to have to spend this money. For instance, let's say you have a hamburger restaurant, all right? The fixed costs are things like the rent for the building and the salaries of the employees. Because regardless of how many units you sell, units you create, none of that, you're always going to have to pay the rent of the building just to be there. And you're going to have to pay the money, the salary for the workers to be there. So these are all things that no matter what, you will be paying this money just for the business to exist. The second type are variable costs. Variable costs are costs that do change depending on the production and the sales. For instance, as we know, if you're making hamburgers at this hamburger place, well, each hamburger is going to take a certain amount of money to produce. Probably might be a couple cents, right, for each hamburger. So if you're going to only sell one hamburger, well, then you have to pay, let's say, 5 cents. But if you're going to sell 100, then that's going to be $5. So you see the costs there change depending on your production. So that's kind of the difference. Fixed is it's always going to be the same. Variable is it changes and it varies depending on how much you're producing. Variable costs are also relative to economies of scale, which, as you know, the more volume you produce, variable costs tend to go down per unit. Because I'm saying 5 cents per hamburger, but let's say you're getting 1,000 hamburger patties. Well, maybe in that case, your supplier is going to give you a discount because you're ordering 1,000 hamburgers from them. So then maybe it'll be 3 cents per hamburger. So that's another thing to take into account. All right, and then after that, we have semi-variable. These are costs that are fixed but have non-fixed elements. For instance, if you have a salary or fixed regular hours, right? You're paying $8 an hour, and so you work this long with overtime pay. That would be the variable part. So the fixed part is you have fixed hours with a fixed rate, or you have a fixed salary. But if you work over your certain hour requirement, then we'll pay you more. That's a variable part because maybe if there's a circumstance where they have to work more, then they can get paid more. They're not as common, but the most common are just fixed and variable, but semi-variable can sometimes be there. Then there's 2 other types, and this is kind of adjacent to this. So this fixed, variable, semi-variable kind of go together. Then the other part is direct or indirect. Direct is to say it's linked to one specific expense or product. As we were saying, this would be the money you're spending to produce hamburgers. All right, so this is the money going directly to that one product or one service. Indirect is also known as overhead. So these are not directly part of the product or production of a product. This could be things like advertising, all right, like the franchise fee. Let's say this hamburger is a McDonald's franchise or the hamburger restaurant. It's a McDonald's franchise. Well, you're going to pay some money to McDonald's so that you can have a franchise. That's not directly related to any product. That's an indirect cost because you're paying that, but it's not directly related to the sale of hamburgers or any product in specifically. These things can also be fixed or direct costs, kind of depending on what the circumstances are. But yeah, indirect costs, they tend to be fixed as well. At least some of them, because this could also be like just having the building, right? Because just having the building, the rent for the building is a fixed cost. It's also an indirect cost. Anyway, so the final 2 points of this are very quick ones. It's total revenue. So total revenue is just to say no expenses subtracted whatsoever. That is straight up the money you've just made from the sale. So if you're selling every hamburger for $1 and you've sold 1,000 hamburgers, well, you have $1,000. That's your total revenue. Before you're subtracting any expenses, your rent, your salaries, none of that. And then revenue streams. This is just a source of revenue or sales. Business can have several. It's often recommended that they do. But it's just a way that your business is making money. That's what a revenue stream is. And with that is the end of this chapter. Very quick and easy one. Hope you guys have understood everything. If you have not, leave a comment down below. And we're going to keep going with the next chapters where things get a bit more complicated. So it's good that you guys have this stuff down so we can start understanding the next parts. But anyway, thank you all for watching and a lot of luck in your studies. See you later.